Welcome to TSAT. Today I am going to discuss a topic in science and technology known as blockchain technology and cryptocurrency. So in this case, directly they may ask you a question, what is meant by blockchain technology, or what are the different applications of blockchain technology, or the importance of blockchain technology in the present transactions, or they may ask you regarding cryptocurrency, what cryptocurrency is. And questions can be, you can have these different variant types of questions. So the content which I am going to discuss with you you will be able to answer to all these kind of questions, and the content which I am displaying to you will be sufficient enough to answer the questions. So in this context, we need to be clear with these issues, and I will be discussing one by one what blockchain technology is. And cryptocurrency is depended upon or developed on the basis of a technology known as blockchain technology. So many applications are there in terms of blockchain technology, but cryptocurrency also works on blockchain technology. So let us examine what blockchain technology is, and later we shall analyze what cryptocurrency is and its significance in the recent era, because the government of India also wanted to use cryptocurrency in transactions. What is that we will be discussing in the process. So to understand what blockchain is, we need to know what blockchain definition is. So then we will be able to understand what blockchain technology is. So blockchain is basically a software program which maintains a ledger effectively, which cannot be altered, which is transparent, where all of us believe on that transaction. So that is the importance of blockchain technology. So, and every one of us, we are using this technology on daily basis in different applications. So in this process, I will be discussing with you what blockchain technology is, and I will be giving you different examples where we are using this blockchain technology, and in this process you will be able to know the significance of blockchain technology. So how this blockchain technology has been defined? Blockchain is a shared immutable ledger that facilitates the process of recording transactions and tracking assets in a business network. So blockchain technology is a software which does this activity. So what are these activities being done by software? Blockchain is a shared, so it is being some information is being shared between us. What is that information being shared between us? And the information is shared between people who are authorized, and the information is not shared between people who are not authorized. That is the speciality of blockchain. The information can only shared between certain authorized people. So for example, you are transferring money from your account by using an application known as PhonePe. The amount is being debited from your account and credited to your friend account or your parent's account, or to an account where you have bought certain goods and services. The transaction is shared between you and your parents or friends or a shopkeeper. So what is being shared? The transaction is being shared. What is being debited and what is being credited. So this is a shared information between two individuals by a ledger maintenance of credit and debit. So it confirms a kind of authenticated, transparent transaction happening between individuals, and it is shared between only people essential. That is one of the main advantage with blockchain. And it is an immutable ledger. So this is the debit and credit ledger being maintained is immutable, means you cannot change it. Oh, can you add a couple of zeros to your balance of your bank account without depositing money? You cannot. You cannot alter the ledger unless until there is a real transaction happened. That is what immutable means, which cannot be changed as you like. that facilitates the process of recording transactions and tracking assets. So, this transaction is being recorded in your ledger, in your application which you have downloaded of a respective bank, recording transactions and tracking assets in a business network. So, this is a technology which one application I have told you in terms of ledger maintenance in your bank account, in the application of your bank app, what you say. Another application is tracking assets in business network. So, you have booked a shirt or shoes or some goods in Amazon or some from a company. In this process, from the manufacturing unit, after it is being delivered by the courier, and from the courier to you, there are certain stages. At every stage, there is a process where the misappropriation of these goods may happen. So, with the help of blockchain, what happens is, the manufacturer is going to give, or the courier boy or the transportation or the logistics will be receiving the goods from the manufacturer only when the good is in a real working condition and intact. After receiving this, the courier or the shipping or the transporter must give the OTP, means a code, to the manufacturer. It means that if the manufacturer is able to receive an OTP from the transportation or the shipping system, it implies that the good being supplied is at a essential standard and the transaction is being confirmed that the transportation system has received the goods from the manufacturing system. Then when the OTP is being shared to the manufacturer, the liability now shifts from the manufacturer to the transportation. So, here now after giving the OTP to the manufacturer, the transportation system cannot blame the manufacturer in terms of the damage or the liability of the good. So, after transportation, you are going to receive the good and you will get an OTP from the company. Unless until you share the OTP to the courier boy or the shipping system, then only you are going to receive the good. So that you cannot blame somebody else, or the transportation system or the logistics or the manufacturer, after sharing the OTP. So, at every stage there is a block known as OTP which is making liable and responsible, so that the transaction is being made transparent and confident. So, this is a kind of system. A couple of examples I have given to you in terms of the ledger maintenance of your bank account in your application of your bank, or in terms of transportation, or for example, you wanted to have a ride in Uber or some other transportation system. So, in this process, the company shares you OTP. When the company, unless until you share the OTP to the car driver cannot start the ride. It implies that the car driver has accepted the ride whenever he receives the OTP. So, in this process, when you have shared the OTP to the car driver, you have to pay the money to the company. So what is happening here? By sharing the OTP known as a block with the help of a software, the car driver is made liable and you are made liable and responsible for a process for service and transaction of money, making it transparent where nobody can deny that because of the block that is OTP being shared. So, different examples which I have given to you in terms of transportation of goods, maintenance of a ledger in a bank, or a ride in a cab, the block is making the transaction compatible with transparency. So, there is a huge range of applications of blockchain software which is helpful for better transactions, making liable, maintaining a transparent ledger. In the upcoming discussion, I will be giving you much more examples in terms of application of blockchain technology, and let us continue the analysis of what blockchain technology is. Tracking assets in a business network. An asset can be tangible or intangible. So, an asset can be tangible or intangible. Tangible asset which you can feel physically, which can be quantified. Intangible asset is an idea or a plan or a formula to make a drug, or you might be an author of a novel. The literature of the novel, when it is being stored as a block in the cloud, can be shared by you only by sharing the OTP. So, for which you will be charging. So, you are securing an intellectual idea in a cloud which you are gaining by sharing the block. So, you are able to do business very easily, transacting your block in terms of your being an author of a novel being stored in the cloud can be transacted easily for your business with confidence and security. So, is an intangible good. So, a tangible good which is visible to you, the example which I have given to you, a tangible good is the good which is manufactured, transported to you, is a tangible good through a certain channel of transportation. So, this what can be tracked with confidence? It is not only a manufacturing good, but also an idea like a novel or a formula of making a drug, or any idea can be stored and transacted. So, this technology can be used for both tangible and intangible assets. So, intangible can be intellectual property or patents, copyrights, branding, or any kind of logo you like. Virtually anything of a value can be tracked and traded on a blockchain network, reducing the risk and cutting costs for all involved. So, what is happening in this process is the good is directly being transported to the consumer from the manufacturing unit. In this process, it is eliminating the middleman, the showrooms, the salaries to the sales boys, the power bill, the rent, the profit of the showroom is being eliminated in between because of this process. Because of this reason, the number of transactions being made by the manufacturer increases, means the number of pieces which can be sold in the market, and the customer is able to receive the goods at a lower price is one of the main advantage with blockchain technology, with transparency. Blockchain characteristics such as tamper evident means for example, somebody is hacking and transacting your money. We can, with the help of IP, we can identify where this fraud has happened very easily. That is what tamper evident is, because somebody to intrude into your domain, there must be an IP. So, we can identify the place where this fraud has happened. Consensus based transaction. So, this happens with the acceptance. Unless until you share your OTP with the cab driver, there is no possibility of a ride. Your sharing means you have accepted the transaction. So, the transaction happens with a kind of understanding between the parties. Consensus based transactions, validations, and secure data storage acts as a key driving force. So, what is happening? The data which is being stored in an account has got a firewall which cannot be intruded by unauthorized parties, and it is secured with a block. So, the block can be anything. The block can be your password. The block can be OTP. A block can be a star rating which you are opting. A block can be created according to your requirement in any kind of transaction possible. Blockchain follows secured by design paradigm, which makes it a unique system that makes business transaction transparent and trusted in a consortium environment. So, what is happening? It is a model. A unique system makes the transaction very transparent and you trust it in a consortium environment. A consortium environment is a kind of a cloud where both the parties have got the access to the cloud in the process of transaction. A cloud is a hardware which has got a configuration to store data and analytical capability, where the authorized parties have been given the choice to access. So, a consortium environment means a cloud which is being allowed by a certain accepted customers by the company is a consortium environment means different sections of the people, the company, and different companies sometimes can access to a single cloud is a consortium environment without any reliance on a centralized or third party authority. So, what the advantage is, for the transacting money, as in the case of the older days, you need not go to the bank, give a check. There is a bank accountant or bank manager will be a liaison in between, acting as an mediators for the transaction. But now, without relying on a centralized, means there is no third party. You and the other party are transacting the amount without the interference of the bank with the software application. So, that is the main advantage with the blockchain technology. This is an application here. So, for non-science students, you need to be clear with certain words. Coding is a process of transferring ideas, solutions, and instructions into a language that the computer can understand. So, coding is a kind of language, a computer language, where it will not be able to understand any kind of vernacular languages. So, the application to make, you must be able to use a kind of coding or a machine language to make the computer to understand. This phenomena of using these machine languages, making the computer to understand, is known as coding. The basic kind of meaning which we need to be clear with, because with this kind of coding, technologies or softwares are being developed. So, encryption is a mechanism where only authorized people who have the key can decipher. So, encryption is a kind of coding where everybody must not be able to understand it. Only the authorized persons must be able to understand this. This is known as encryption. So, blockchain, as in the case of any kind of application in the software, even in the case of blockchain technology, coding and encryption is very much important in the process of making this application of blockchain. So, why blockchain is important? So, blockchain is important because it does this transaction faster. As soon as you transact the money, the ledger is immediately being maintained. The current ledger balance is being maintained instantly. So, it doesn't, you need not go to the bank and maintain the ledger. Instant clarity you will be able to get. When there is clarity, the number of transactions are more. When the number of transactions are more, the profit ratio being made per day will be more. That is the main advantage with blockchain technology. It provides immediate, shared, and completely transparent information stored on an immutable ledger. So, these transactions are instant, fast, which cannot be altered as you like. If there is a real transaction, then only the ledger will be changing. That can be accessed only by permissioned network members. So, to see this ledger, everybody doesn't have got the access. You can get access to your own account and nobody else can get into this. So, only permissioned people are allowed to get into the ledger. That is the other advantage with blockchain, because you will be given a certain choice to make a passcode to enter into your account. So, the passcode here in this context is a block. The blockchain network can track orders, payments, accounts, production, and much more. So, as I have told you, in the case of the manufacturing, transportation, and consumption, the different stages based upon the sharing of OTPs, you can identify whether the good being manufactured is in the process of manufacturing, transportation, or being consumed, can be understood. Whether the payment is done on the basis of the ledger maintenance, accounts, production, and much more. This will give you a clear details of transaction. That is another advantage with blockchain technology. Blockchain is a distributed ledger technology. Distributed ledger technology is a technology where the transaction is being distributed between the authorized parties, the producer and the consumer. For example, this is a ledger being displayed to the producer and the consumer, and the debit and the credit can be observed in these two accounts, and only these two can be these two people can view the transaction ledger. That is the reason why this is known as a distributed ledger technology. So, which requires certain infrastructure in terms of computers, hardware, internet connectivity, and the cell phones essential to load the software. So, this is a kind of a network of hardware and software essential for transaction. So, what are the range of areas, for example, which we need to give as an example in the process of discussion? In the case of blockchain technology, for example, in the case of healthcare, for example, when you have been to have a vaccine, for example, a COVID vaccine, so they have noted down your Aadhaar number. So, to make the minimum available vaccines to a targeted group means, for example, in the first case, there is a certain age group being defined where those elderly people need to be given vaccines. So, what is the basis on which blockchain technology worked in healthcare is, so when the Aadhaar card is being used as a block, so that you can make use of these vaccines to a targeted people who are more prone to diseases, so that you can control the disease more effectively with the help of blockchain. So, this is a technology where the Aadhaar number is being used as a block. For example, in the case of automobiles, for example, you are taking a ride in the cab. So, unless until you give the OTP, the transaction is confirmed. In the case of Internet of Things is by using hardware and software, internet connectivity, modems, systems, cell phones, satellites, optic fiber cables, gateway cables, and by using all these signal towers, you are connecting different devices across the world. So, you are able to do certain activities as you like. With this, for example, you can have an electronic door to your home. Without your authorization, nobody can enter. If at all somebody enters, break open, immediately you will get a message. You can on the air condition before you go to your home, so to make your room chill, or you can on certain washing machines or on the stove or etc. You can, even though you are not in your home, you will be able to view what is happening in your home. So, you can book a ride or a cab. So, you can book an appointment to a doctor, you can transact money. Internet of Things is doing any possible thing without with the help of interconnectivity with hardware and software is Internet of Things. So, all these things, so finances, for example, a transaction of your bank accounts, buying, selling, can be done with the help of blockchain technology by using certain OTPs and passcodes. So, the defense equipment, for example, you have got a nuclear weapons. Who can fire the nuclear weapons? So, the firing the nuclear weapons must be within the hands of certain real executive. So, to make the nuclear weapons to fire, they are not in the hands of a single individual. So, the defense chief, the prime minister, all of them, when they use a block known as passcode together, then only nuclear weapons can be fired. So that they are providing a lot of security, because unnecessary firing of nuclear weapons leads to warfare. They are being controlled by using blockchain technology. So, these are the different range of applications of blockchain technology. Blockchain is an immutable ledger, means which cannot be altered very easily. That is the reason why it is known as immutable ledger. Blockchain is been described as a hyperledger fabric. So, why blockchain is been described as hyperledger fabric? Because hyperledger is one which shows the balance of credit and debit. Hyperledger is one which is been distributed between authorized individuals, between the two parties. Sometimes even the bank manager or the central organization can view. So, in certain circumstances, the central organization, you and the customer or your consumer or the producer, only 2-3 parties are authorized to do. So, an hard copy of a ledger can be viewed only by a single individual, but this has been described as a hyperledger because of this kind of software, hardware, internet connectivity. This is a kind of the same ledger which can be viewed and used by the authorized parties through internet. That is the reason why, which has got a utility capacity beyond a physical ledger. That is the reason why this is known as a hyperledger fabric. Smart contracts. So these are being described as smart contracts because a contract in general happens between parties or individuals physically on a paper. But in the case of a smart contract, without the physical presence, even though the people and parties are existing across different countries in the world, can get into a contract with an OTP or a block. The block is confirming that, like a digital signature is a block confirming the contract. So that is the reason why a contract can be made with a software and a hardware. That is the reason why this is being considered as a smart contract. So how blockchain works? As each transaction occurs, it is recorded as a block of data. So the data block can record the information of your choice: who, what, when, where, how much, and even the condition can be recorded that with the help of the blockchain software. So that is the main advantage with the blockchain technology. Each block is connected to the one before and after. So there is a sequence of blocks of OTPs being connected one after the another, which records even the time duration, so that the sequence of transaction and the time duration can be established, which gives a lot of transparency and clarity between parties of transaction, which develops confidence in transactions. So this is one of the basic characteristic of blockchain technology, is a sequence of transactions are being recorded and tracked. Transactions are blocked together in an irreversible chain. Once the transaction happens, you cannot reverse it. That is another advantage. So it gives you a kind of authentication to you. So benefits of blockchain. The benefits of blockchain is a record keeping system can be vulnerable to fraud and cyber attacks. So operation often waste effort on duplication. So what is happening here? In a general maintenance of a ledger in a bank, in the absence of software and hardware, you need to make a hard copy supplied to you and to the bank. In this process, you are not only the customer to a bank. Bank has got lakhs of customers. So maintaining a physically lakhs of customers ledger is physically impossible in this era, but this is being made by a simple software instantly of millions of customers across the world. So that is one of the main benefit, where fast maintenance of ledger with transparency and confidence is possible with blockchain. This is one of the main benefit. We believe in that because of this rigidity we have got. That is the reason why blockchain is trusted, because it cannot be easily altered. Because it cannot be easily altered, it has got a greater security. Sometimes even the bank employees cannot get into your account unless authorized. So when someone else, a bank employee entering into your domain or an account, need to get a permission for which he receives a block. It implies that so and so individual with certain IP has entered into your account. So if anything happens, we can identify a person who is responsible for unauthorized transactions. That is the reason why you have got great security. These are more efficiencies. Time, ledger maintenance is very fast. That is the reason why this is more efficient. So for example, in the case of food industry, this has got a great trust. For example, take the case of any kind of food industry. For example, nowadays we are fond of organic farming. Which company has been farming there? Who has processed the food? Who has transported the food? By what time it has reached you? The fish which is been caught at different places in the oceans, processing company, transportation, and the consumer. Each stage is being tracked with time. So you will be having confidence that you have bought the goods which you are consuming from a producer whom you believe, because these have got blocks in terms of QR codes, barcodes, OTPs, confirm that you are receiving the food from your believing producer. That is another application here in the case of food industry. So, types of blockchain networks. These are blockchain networks which are public, private, permissioned, built by consortium. So, what is happening here? In the case of public blockchain or a consortium, so for example, everybody has got the choice to enter into a domain. For example, Google is a public domain. So, by using certain block of your ID, email ID kind of things, you can get into with the ID. Private means everybody cannot enter. For example, you are the account holder of a bank. Only the account holders of the bank will be allowed into the cloud of the bank. Is a private one. So, permissioned. So, sometimes it becomes necessary for software engineers to get into the cloud. So, a permission need to be given if he is not a member. And consortium means a block or a cloud into which you can enter with the consensus of all the members. For example, you can transact money from your bank account to another bank account, from SBI to HDFC, let us assume. So, the data of HDFC and the data of SBI, the customer's data, the ledger data need to be maintained in a single cloud. So, with the acceptance of the bank and the customers, the data is being fed into a single cloud where the transaction happens with the cross checking of the data. So, by using a single cloud with the cross checking of data, making transactions more efficient is known as a consortium cloud, where the cloud is being run with the help of a blockchain technology. So, these are different ranges of application of blockchain technology. Public blockchain network. So, as I have given the example of Google, where everybody has got the possibility to enter. The next is private blockchain network. Only few are being allowed. The example of the account of a bank I have given to you. Permission blockchain, when a software engineer, when there is a trouble in the system, he need to be given a permission to enter to set right the problem. Consortium blockchain, which I have discussed with you, and multiple organizations together maintain a single cloud, leads to the formation of a consortium blockchains. Different clouds are being linked together for the exchange of data, transferring account from one bank account to another bank account. The clouds of different banks need to be connected. So, that is what blockchain technology is. Friends, we shall meet in the other session discussing different topics in science and technology. Thank you.